Hello everyone, I'm your host, Roman Garcia from Nerdsport, and welcome to Creating a Culture of Innovation. We're here to highlight up-and-coming and growing businesses that want to show off their culture and what makes them stand out with technology. Our goal is to educate our audience about having a strong IT and cybersecurity infrastructure and showing how other businesses are leveraging technology in order to succeed. Nerdsport is an award-winning managed service provider that's been helping businesses in the US and around the world with managed IT, consulting, and cloud solutions for almost 20 years. If you found what we talked about in today's episode valuable and are looking to advance your business's technology strategy, we can offer you a free IT consultation where we examine your technology, cybersecurity, and compliance so that we can take care of your IT and you can focus on the growth of your business. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, you can apply at cacoi.nerdsport.com/podcast. And to learn how Nerdsport can help you succeed with technology, visit us at nerdsport.com. All right, enjoy the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Creating a Culture of Innovation podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Roman Garcia, and as you can see, we have a special episode for you today. I got a celebrity appearance for you, the CEO and founder of Nerdsport himself, Scott Richman. Scott, thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while. Of course, we had the whole COVID situation, and I've been doing this for Zoom for the time being, but we finally have a chance to do it live, and hope we can keep this going. So.
Of course, better in person.
Of course, yeah.
The real deal.
For sure. Okay, Scott, so first question. What is Nerdsport's mission statement, and what exactly do we do for businesses to help them succeed?
Well, the key factor is that it's always been the vision of the company. We help small to medium-sized business exceed with the technology and leveraging Fortune 500 technology so they can compete against the big guys. And then the main goal is to be able to partner with clients that see they have that same vision, because every client, this is their Fortune 500, so we respect that. And we help them use technology to advance their company forward with like workflows and automation, and give them the tools that they need to be able to work. And then also, obviously this last year, it's like work from anywhere. And how are you going to secure that? So the other big factor is now we're not just a managed service provider, we're a managed security service provider. So making sure that they feel secure, that their data is secure from the people that are working from anywhere, and they're also on a BYOD, which means bring your own device. And we also make sure those devices are secure before they're able to access that data.
Right, because I'm sure it's kind of a bit of a misconception that some people might have, that with IT, it's not just a simple like help desk, or you don't have like a geek squad to help you out for like simple turn off and on bug fixes or things like that. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, the complexity of today's world, obviously it's all over the news about cybersecurity and other concerns. And then, back in the day, just being a basic help desk might have been the beginnings, but that was never really what our specialty was. It was ours is teaching our clients and also showing how they can use technology strategically to help them advance their companies.
Okay, so that's a little bit about what it means to be a managed service provider, but in terms of what it means to value your clients and how you serve your clients, I know that there's been a bit of an evolution in our processes, especially over the last couple of years with the remote work and the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you want to go a little bit into that. Right.
So this is the problem. If you're not working with an advanced IT company, right? So when the pandemic hit, what happened is that now those companies had to figure out how they're going to be able to make and flip a switch and have their whole team go work remotely. Mm-hmm. Luckily, our clients were already with Nerdsport. It was nothing of that sort. It was already been in place. Our system has been designed for a catastrophe or a disaster, right? Mm-hmm. Did we expect all of a sudden in a moment's notice that we were going to be told to go work from home? I guess not. But many of our clients, when they happen, they go, "Wow, Scott, it looks like you saw the future of something happening," and we were at the right company. So we actually had systems already placed, and we just told them, just have your employees go home. They don't need to take their PCs from the offices. You don't have to go and buy 1,000 laptops, and you don't have, just have them go work from home. Our systems will check their systems, make sure it's secure before accessing the company data. And that's how we were able to succeed through the pandemic. And as we keep going forward, Nerdsport has always been ahead of the curve. We've always thought, what's next? And now the biggest part obviously has been being the managed security service provider. And we've been doing that already in a year, years in advance. And when did we think we would already start getting attacked all the time by Russia? Well, this is something that we've already been seeing in advance, and we already planned for that. So, we've had these security systems in place, and we're educating our clients, and then giving them the sense of knowledge that if something does happen, they know we've got them covered. So that's the biggest value.
A lot of people anticipate this kind of technology to emerge, but probably not for like the next couple of years or like 5 years. It just so happened that the need was needed a lot sooner, and so I know that you talked about at length about also like the ways that that we're now on like cloud communications, or trying to make that whole process more efficient, so that is able to increase like workflow or ease of workflow and flexibility and such.
Correct. So the thing is remember, with today's technology, most applications are now moving to the cloud, where they're called a SaaS app, or a software as a service app, or a cloud app, which is directly a web interface that you go to. So how do you secure people to log into those applications? And how do you're expecting the vendor you're buying the software have that security in place, right? And then you have your IT company that's securing like your day-to-day operations. Now you got to get those operations to talk to those cloud applications, and how is that all going to work, and how is that all going to be secured, right? So we have a solution in place where it's like a one portal, what they call SSO, single sign-on, and they pass through this portal, and then everything is tracked for compliances. So then we make sure that these clouds can talk to each other. So you can be in a hybrid mode. You can have a public cloud, one public cloud talking to a private cloud, or even in essence where people might even have a server still in their office, all right, while they're trying to make this migration change, right? So they got to get all these things working together, and it's just not like a flip of a switch for some of these companies. Companies who have migrated with us have already had that, so it was very easy for them to flip of a switch, And then after all that's done, now you got to secure it, and you got to guarantee you can secure it.
Okay, so we went over some of the nerdy stuff about like what goes into the technology of it all, but I kind of want to go a little bit into the personal side. And what inspired you to start Nerdsport, and kind of what was your origin story there?
Well, to be honest, the thing is that my family is pretty much entrepreneurs, all the way from my grandfather, and I really learned a lot from him when he was here. He gave me a lot of inspiration, kind of even from his early stages, how he had, started, his first venture. And the other thing is also being not only an entrepreneur, but, making an impact. And when I got to see what he did, and then seeing my father, then my sister, it was just obvious, So that kind of where it was. And I worked at a Fortune 500 company, and I was like, what, this technology is awesome. How can I get this to the small to medium-sized business? And that was how the creation of Nerdsport started.
Right. And would you say that there was any kind of like inspiration on like the technical side, or like did you learn all that yourself? Like how did that help you out?
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm very much self-taught. So I had learned, we went to some classes and learned about technology, and if I start talking about that, then I'm going to show my age, how old I was when I did different operating systems. But really, the thing is that I was seeing the way technology was moving, and I just felt that there had to be something that could be done for this space. And the innovation that I saw at the company I was with, Fortune 500 company, I go, there's got to be a way to do this for the smaller guy. And that's how we started. And even though today we actually manage, public traded companies, that's even been the exciting part, like how our journey's come full circle. So
that's great to hear, Scott. Also, kind of on the note of the present and where we are now, and where the industry is now, I kind of want to hear a bit of about your experience within the industry, and where do you think the managed services industry is lacking, and what do you think could be done better to improve that?
Right. Well, to be honest, kind of the crazy thing is, right? To be a CPA, right? You gotta have the certifications. To be a doctor, you gotta have that certification. To be an attorney, you have to do certifications. Well, unfortunately, our industry is not regulated. It's something I'm pushing for that I would love to see happen, but there are ways to work with a provider to make sure that they are following some procedures. Now, majority of the service providers out there all have the greatest intent to do everything possible, the right thing for their clients, right? But there's the limitations of their skill set, their knowledge and know-how, right? When you're a CPA, like we do financial firms, right? They have to do continuous education and learning. Well, that's one of the things that I pride myself in. I travel quite often throughout the year to make sure we're following the best practices for the industry. And then I'm seeing now a big part taking place, which is compliance. How do you know, right, that the service provider you're working with is going to be okay if you have a breach, all right? And a lot of people don't understand this. They go, oh, we just got hacked. No, you didn't. You actually been hacked for 8 to 10 months. It's a proven knowledge that any cyber attack that's happened, when it's found out, when the investigation is all said and done, they end up finding out they were in your systems 8 to 10 months prior before the actual breach.
Right.
Where you thought happened just then. You were breached 8 to 9 months, and then all of a sudden they give you ransomware or whatever thing they do, or take the data or whatever they're going to do. That's what happens. They monitor and see, and that's how they execute. Okay, so they have organizations to do this, right? To make sure that how they're going to break in. But now the question is, there's a breach, right? If you reach out to your IT company and they can't send you a business continuity plan, meaning what is going to happen right after, and how it's going to be taken care of, and how it's going to mitigate, and actually know the time that will take you to get back up and running, then you need to rethink who you're working with, right? So actually, Nerdsport actually goes through this process on a yearly basis, all right? We go through and get our SOC 2, SOC Type 2 audit. That means that we have auditors come in and they audit all our business processes and procedures, and make sure that we have the documentation in place and we have the processes in place to protect our clients. And then if there is something that happens, we know what to do. All right? We don't start getting our, that old saying, we don't look like you get the chicken head chopped off and start running around like, what the heck are we gonna do now? And then all figure it out, and that causes that nightmare, in panic mode. So that's the biggest factor. So I think our industry needs to be monitored, and there should be some certifications that have to be done, and it is coming because we're very valuable, making sure small to mid-sized businesses are up and running.
Right. And this isn't from a place of we're certified, so we're better than everyone. I'm sure that a lot of those businesses might have that technology or the knowledge, but it's about proving it and kind of setting that standard for peace of mind.
Correct.
So that even people that we're not partnered with or anything like that just so that the industry itself can prove and show that they know what to do and that they can walk the walk.
Yes, exactly. Walk the talk. That's the big factor, and the complexity now. I always say this, right when I first started, I was a one-man band, and I had 2 people, in the first month or whatever, and we started to the team size we are today. And look, the complexity is so much, there's only so much a team can do, and then I told you, 99.9% of all IT companies out there have the best, want to do the best for their clients, but unfortunately, some guy down the street can go out and hang a shingle tomorrow and be an IT company. And it's scary.
Right. Yeah, because I remember that back in 2020 when we first did that I was hearing SOC 2, but not a lot of people are kind of privy to the importance of that. So it's just a matter of education. That's really all we're trying to do with that.
It doesn't mean that every managed IT service provider needs to go and get a SOC 2, right? Mm-hmm. The reason why we do business with public traded companies is because we have it. They know that we have business process in place, we certify a business process in place, and they know that we're doing what we say we do, So, that's kind of what you want to know, and having that trust, with your vendor and knowing they got your back covered. So I just tell people, look, just ask your company right now, if, you're working with it, if you got breached, can you tell me what it would look like and what that downtime would be, and tell me the process and what it looks like. And if they can provide that and you're comfortable with what they provide you with and they can prove it to you, then obviously they're doing the right thing.
Right.
Okay? So like I said, I think there has to be some type of certification for this type of business.
Right, just to create some kind of standard.
Exactly.
Right. So kind of on that note that, we talked about the past, we talked about the present, and now I want to talk about the future. So what does Nerdsport have in store for the future? What's on the agenda, or at least what we can share?
Right. Well, the biggest thing that we're going to do now, the phase of where we are as a company, is help companies getting them to get all their other systems talking to each other, okay, with DevOps. So the biggest problem that you have is that there's so many organizations out there that are using one product from one company, one product for another company. Now, obviously, everybody uses the big product, Microsoft products, or Word, Excel, and everything else.
Right.
But the ERP programs out there, there's millions of them, And then how do those ERP programs talk back to their accounting programs? Or how do they get their data from their ERP programs to correlate with their Excel sheet? Or how do they get their Salesforce to communicate with their accounting department? Or NetSuite, how do they get these applications to talk to each other in a single pane of glass? And that's what we're working on, and that's what we're really focusing on, and helping companies understand that, and then also securing that. Because that's the other factor. Like, this is like, it's an ever ongoing. After you have all these things working, how do you secure it? How do you box it up and protect it? How do you put the guardrails around it?
Right. Because now with the whole flexibility, as we were talking about, the work from home, that I'm sure like that kind of like workflow, the productivity of it all, like it needs to be secured, but also you still want to have that flexibility for your employees or
Right.
things like that. All right, Scott, thanks for coming on and answering my questions and really shedding the light on what Nerdsport stands for and what we're trying to do out here in this space. So, but before we go, really quick, where can the audience find us, and do you possibly have anything to share with them?
Right. So yes, you can find us at nerdsupport.com. That's NERDSSUPPORT.com. There's 2 S's in the middle there because we're not just one nerd here at Nerd Support. And then also we're giving $1,000 off for our business audits to confirm that businesses are doing what they say they're doing. If you're not sure about your IT company, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be glad to help you out with that as well. And if you'd like, you can also just reach out to me and send an email or visit our website, and I'll be glad to share 15 minutes of conversation on the phone if somebody wants to just pick my mind and know what they need to do.
Right. Okay, great. Thanks, Scott. So, as I said, the CEO and founder of Nerdsport, again, everyone, Scott Richman, thanks for stopping by, and thank you for creating a culture of innovation within your business. So,
Sounds good.
We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Roman here. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Creating a Culture of Innovation. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, you can apply at cacoi.nerdsupport.com/podcast. Did you find what we talked about today valuable? Please give it a like and share it on social media. Or if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them and make sure to include the hashtag Creating a Culture of Innovation. We'd love to bring on a diverse group of guests. Since we're regularly putting out new content, subscribe and make sure you don't miss any episodes. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and it'd mean a lot to me and my team. Want to learn more about Nerd Support and how we can help you succeed with technology? Visit our website at nerdsupport.com or follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Nerd Support. Thanks for listening in, and we hope you'll stop by next time.